a journey, what we have achieved so far in terms of the business. First one being corporate learning and development. Second is digital learning solutions. Third is basically a digital skill development and CSR implementation.
Tell me one thing, you mentioned about your core divisions. I was also reading about this, that you are into corporate
Mhm.
learning as well as digital learning, skill development, and trainer outsourcing.
Wherein we do all kind of frontline induction programs, large scale induction programs for the industries like BFSI, automotive, pharma, and healthcare, as well as IT and IT.
Welcome, friends. My name is Avinash Gorakshakar, and I welcome all of you to another interesting episode of Konexio HighFlyers. Friends, as all of you are aware, this is a very interesting series where we talk to the promoters and the top management of emerging companies, and talk to them about their business models, their growth journey, and their future growth plans. And in this process, we get a lot of valuable information about the company, about its growth prospects from the promoters and the top management. And this goes a very long way in in helping investors to understand these companies in a much better manner. And friends, today we've got another interesting company which is going to hit the capital market very soon. The company's name is Wagons Learning Limited, and we have the privilege and pleasure of having the chairman and CEO of the company, Mr. Uday Jagannath Shetty. Udayji, welcome to the show. Thank you very much for sparing your valuable time with us today.
Good evening, Avinashji. Thank you for having me in your show.
Yeah. So, Udayji, first question, which is very elementary and which we normally start with, I think if you can just tell us what is the business model of our company, and although we have read about your company from the prospectus and presentation, we would like you to describe it. And sir, how did this journey start? Is it a first generation effort from your side? If you could please tell us something about your business journey, that would also help us.
Great. Thank you, Avinashji. So I'll just give you a brief about our journey, what we have achieved so far in terms of the business. So we started in 2013. So we started with a two-member team, and today we have grown to almost 96-member team across the country. And we started with a mere two clients in the first year, and today we are servicing almost 100 plus clients as well. So we are predominantly a corporate learning and development organization. In the initial years, we started workforce, upskilling, fresh skilling, reskilling activities, and then as the need arises, so we added on multiple business verticals. So we operate in four major business verticals. First one being corporate learning and development. Second is digital learning solutions. Third is basically a digital skill development and CSR implementation. And fourth is trainer outsourcing and payroll management. So across, we have been doing a good steady growth over the years. And currently, we have been, doing pretty good in terms of our revenue numbers as well as the profit figures. So this is how we started, and almost 5,50,000 people skilled so far across various blue chip organizations and premium institutions in the country.
Okay. I think nice to know that, Udayji. Now, Udayji, tell me one thing. You mentioned about your core divisions. I was also reading about this, that you are into corporate
Mhm.
learning as well as digital learning, skill development, and trainer outsourcing. If you could just give us a brief understanding what each segment actually caters to, and in
Mhm.
your current revenue mix that is for financial year FY24, which is available, if you could tell which
Mhm.
are the main segments which contribute to the top line, like is it corporate learning or digital learning? If you could just give us a broad breakup of the revenue, what comes from which segment, and briefly give us a summary of what each segment actually mean for a normal investor. If you could just simplify it for us.
Great. Will do. So basically, as I mentioned, so we work in four different business verticals. Corporate learning and development is our inception and is a flagship vertical, wherein we do all kind of frontline induction programs, large scale induction programs for the industries like BFSI, automotive, your pharma and healthcare, as well as IT and ITES. So here we do a large scale end to end projects which is related to induction training, service, customer service training, sales training, as well as the leadership development. So it is a mix of physical as well as digital. So we call it as phygital. So
Okay.
phygital learning is what we are doing under corporate learning and development for the existing workforce. The second
Okay.
is digital learning solutions. It is fairly includes the softwares as well. So we have learning management software. We have learning experience platforms for offering our courses. We also have digital library created, almost 150 modules created, which is offered as a subscription, as a license based model. And third one is basically custom content development, custom e-learning content development, 2D 3D video based, game based learning, which we create under the digital learning solutions. And the third one is basically skill development and CSR implementation, where we help organization to build the capacity by giving them the industry ready force, by doing them sector specific skill training. And it's basically we do with the blue chip organizations again. So we work with majority of them in the country, top 10 private sector banks, top 10 NBFCs in the country, as well as the leading auto giants in the country, and the ITITS companies as well. So the
Okay.
fourth
So
is trainer outsourcing and payroll management. Here also we work with large scale clients. So as far as your question concerning to revenue mix, the 55% of our revenue comes from corporate learning and development, and the rest comes from digital learning and skill development put together, and remaining from training, outsourcing, and payroll management.
okay. Udayji, now on the market opportunity, I just wanted to understand. You said, you all have trained about 5.5 lakh people, in your company. So tell me one thing in terms of the opportunity market over the next, say, 3 to 5 years. How big is this market, and how does our company plan to capitalize on this growth? If you could please share your thoughts.
The overall size of the market is in multi crores, like about 5,000 crore is the market, all business vertical put together. So we are currently competing with the industry giants like NIIT, Manipal Global Education. So in the similar product and services which we offer, apart from this, we also are competing with the Upgrade, Coursera, and other players in the country, primarily for our corporate learning and development and digital learning solutions. So we are competing with NIT and Manipal Global Education for the Indian market, and both of them are maybe 1,000 crore plus companies. So they're we also foresee out of this 5,000 crore market, which are there for all the verticals put together. So we are seeing our growth from here on, because our products are ready, our services have been accepted by the large blue chip organizations at a very large scale. Projects have been delivered by us in the past 2 years, and we have created products, and there is a skill development opportunity coming in terms of the government policy for NEP and other areas. So overall, we see we are geared up for capturing the right market share across verticals.
Okay, so I think understood. Very nice to know, Udeji. Udeji, now tell me one thing that in terms of the active customer base, we've trained about 5.5 lakh people, but typically, when you talk about corporate kind of training, it is largely to B2B clients. So broadly, what is the active number of clients as of now? If you could give us some idea, and is there any client concentration, top five or top 10, where most of the revenue comes? Is it like that?
Yes. So we were been doing large scale projects with our existing clients, because one of our key area is of growth is that we have been seeing a steady growth over the last decade, and over the last 3 4 years post COVID, there is a rebound in terms of the L&D activities, and people have realized that the skill development and workforce skilling is a major thing which needs to be considered for a good business performance by any corporate. So what we have seen is that overall our the growth is good, and we've been able to manage that. So these are the areas which we are touching upon.
So fine. Udayji, now I want to understand very simple thing that see, we operate in the service business. We give corporate training, digital services, skill development. How does the pricing work? Like for example, you get a B2B customer. Is it based on some contract which you get when you compete with other people in the market, or is it relationship based? So first of all, how is the pricing decided with each B2B customer? And secondly, sir, is this business a prepaid business? Like suppose a corporate wants to learn, put his employees on corporate training. Does he give the money after the training is over, or do you take an advance of 50% or the entire amount upfront and then the service is delivered? If you could please explain.
Absolutely. So, answering your first question on the pricing model, so each business segment and business vertical has its own way of pricing. For example, corporate learning and development, we have a pricing model of per day session, pricing, or per participant pricing. So when we say per participant pricing, where we do the end-to-end complete services offered, wherein we bring them to the classroom, we identify the infrastructure for doing the training, whether it is three-star hotels. We have about 300 three-star hotels across the country tie-up. We do the content development, we do the training delivery, we do the project management, and also manage all kind of assessments and competency frameworks through our assessment engines, the software, training management software. So here it would be a per participant kind of cost. Now going back to the second, which is digital learning solutions, where we offer a subscription basis or a license based, per participant cost there. And third is skill development and CSR implementation. It is per batch either, or depending upon the project size, the entire project pricing happens. The project pricing is considered. Trainer outsourcing is purely a retainership trainer cost per month, kind
Okay.
of cost which we are doing it. So this is the across thing. And second question of your, how we procure these large scale orders, is that we have been in the industry for almost 12 years now, and majority of our clients, about 60% of the clients give us repeat business. So we are having a very good highest client retention rates. Our USP being, we do the high level customization of content specific to the client. Client centric approach is always there, and we also have a very good technological support. So we have done a lot of innovation in terms of technological support to match these offerings. We have a very good team composition. That's how we've been able to, being a small player, we've been able to compete with the an IIT, Manipal Global Education, Upgrad, Coursera, these kind of large players, by offering very customizable and good content strategy. This is what, so only instructional designing principles and the content strategy and the project management skills, coupled with the technological advancement which we have done, so matching the competition. So this is how we procure large scale business over the years.
No, I think very nice, Udayji. Udayji, just one question which I wanted to ask. Which is very important from an investor point of view. Like, do we get
Mhm.
some advance from the customer when we sign the contract, or when the entire contract is completed, you get the payment? Is it like a prepaid business? I just wanted to understand how is your cycle. Like, I am a customer, I come to you and I tell you I want to train some of my employees. Do I have to
Mhm.
give you some advance, or do you give do I have to pay you after the entire service is complete?
Generally, once we run a large scale project, so the advance in services industry is not in practice. So when we do a 15 days kind of program for an induction, suppose, so across the country, multiple batches we do it. So after 15 days, we get all the bills from all the vendors and all the parties, and then we consolidate. So after 1 month, we raise the bill, and the credit period generally varies from 30 to 60 days, depending upon the project size, the project deliverables. So based on all these things, we have about 30 to 60. So overall, it is a 90 days process. We have to invest our money and get the money after 90 days.
So
Is what.
basically,
Yeah.
Sanjeev, just correct me if I'm wrong. This is applicable for all the four verticals. What you do: skill development, digital learning, corporate, learning, everything. All the businesses operate. The working capital cycle is
Across,
similar. Right?
Absolutely. Working capital cycle is working in this. So sometimes we minimize based on the specialized services which we give. If there is any specialized modules, then definitely we need an input cost at an early stage. So 30 to 60 days is what the credit period. But when we do a induction program, the bill raising itself, it will take of course 30 days. Or when we do a large scale digital intervention, again bill raising will happen maybe 30, 35, 45 days from there, and again 45 days. So the 90 to 100 days is what generally typically the receivable cycle.
Okay. Okay. Now, one important question, Udayji, which I would like to ask you, that leave alone the financials. In our
Mhm.
business, it is all about service, execution, how the customer, gets a feeling that, you have done a great job. Now, in your own words, since you have started the business, what are the, key differentiating factors where you offer better value to the customers? Finally, the customer comes because he's happy with your service. As you said, customers give you a lot of repeat business. So maybe two, three qualitative kind of points, if you could share with us, is how do we do business better than others, and why a large part of repeat business comes to us. So in what way are we better? If you could just give us some idea, on the qualitative side, in your own words.
Yeah. So basically, as I mentioned, one of the key factor in our business is the customization. So the customization level at which we do, and second is about client centric approach. So we have a very very specific client centric experience and exposure. So which makes us apart from the competition. And second most important thing is how good technologically we support them in terms of managing the large scale projects. So for managing a large scale project, your technological support is very very important aspect. And third most important, the team composition. So majority of our business is into knowledge based business. So we need to have a very good team composition in terms of the SME subject matter experts capability, in terms of the instructional design capability, in terms of having a thorough training quality processes in in-house processes. So these are some of the key differentiators where we are able to match the competition, that to people who are there in the business for almost 50, 60 years. So 50, 60 years and continuous improvement, and we were able to get larger market share than them within those large clients because of these key factors.
Well, understood. I think thanks for the answer, Udayji. Now, Udayji, let's come to the financials. I was seeing your FY24 and numbers up to December, very strong numbers. Top line is 33 crores from 16 crores last year. The profit after tax is almost 5.63 crores. It was just
Mhm.
70 lakhs a year before. Now, first of all,
Correct.
for this particular year, Udayji, I want to understand what exactly happened. Turnover has doubled and profits have moved from almost 70 lakhs to 5.63 crores. So, what was the reason for such a sharp jump? Anything exceptionally happened, or maybe the pricing was very good. You trained a lot of more students. So, if you could please explain.
See, there are two, three factors to it. As I mentioned, so we've been doing a repeat business with the majority of the clients. Post COVID, there is a huge, rebound in terms of the corporate learning and development initiatives. By majority of them, they felt that skill development is more, and the corporate, skilling, workforce skilling is more proportional to the workforce business performance. And there is a huge need for it. And we've been getting a lot, and there are not multiple players available in the market to meet these requirements. So it was on a back foot by many of the large corporates. So now once we have got a couple of good new client projects wherein we are managing end to end projects for them, complete project. So we are an extended L&D department for them, for which they would take years together to form that, and we had that setup ready. And based on our past performance with these large blue chip clients, as I mentioned, we work with top 10 private sector banks, top 10 auto giants. We work with the major ITES clients, top ITITS clients. So here, since we have done some kind of work post COVID and build that credibility, now the business is scaling up at a very large scale.
Okay, Udayji, now even up to December 24, we have seen very strong performance. What we have achieved last year, we have achieved in the first 9 months, that is 33 crores top line, 5 crores plus profit. Now, Can we assume that the same reason what you mentioned earlier, that because of some extended projects you got a better margin, you got a better profitability kind of trajectory, the same reason can we say has been repeated in FY25 also?
Yes. So the projects which have been going through in 2020, 24, March is still continuing, and the size of the projects and the new acquisitions are at a very faster pace this year. And since the market got to know that there is an additional player who has come into the market and will be able to do large scale projects, so we are able to procure multiple such orders which been done in March 24, and the trend continues. So that is the reason even coming up with an IPO, so that we'll have more visibility, credibility, and we can service more orders. So we are getting a good response because our entire system, products, services system, everything is set up, and we are just adding on multiple products and projects in the pipeline and executing those projects. That's clearly visible in our sales figures.
Oh, fine. Udayji, now I want to understand a very fundamental question relating to scalability. Like, first of all, how
Mhm.
is capacity utilization measured in our industry? Manufacturing companies, they have an installed capacity and production is out. Ours is a
Correct.
service industry. So can we assume that if you put more people, the business can get scaled up significantly? That is point number one. Secondly, how many trainers and how many content writers do we have currently? If you could give us some idea.
See, we have a good mix of instructional designers, subject matter experts, and also we have an experienced master trainers who do a large scale training projects. Now, coming back to your question of capacity, resource utilization, it is not directly linked with the number of people who work with us. So there is a factor of technology wherein we use the technology and the digital library. So wherein we have a ready-made content which has already been created over the past so many years. So we leverage that for a better productivity, operational efficiency, and also revenue garnering. So more revenue comes from our technology aspects as well, so which has been already been developed, and we have invested quite a time in terms of doing a lot of R&D and innovation to capture the market. So it is directly not linked to the number of people who are working. So it is basically the modules and ready to go market kind of digital offerings, so is what makes the difference. So this is how we use overall
No, fine. Now, one basic question which I wanted to ask you. You mentioned in your earlier replies that our working capital is roughly about 90, 100 days. And once the
Mhm.
client, is satisfied with your service, you deliver the service, then the payment cycle is done. Now, Udayji, what normally financial experts and, share market people see is, operating cash flows in our business in the last 2 to 3 years, I was observing, you have got very good operating margins. You've got a very good top line growth, but somehow the operating cash flows have not been very large. So I just wanted to
Mhm.
understand, going forward, do you expect these operating cash flows to become slightly better? I mean, if you could please tell us.
Yeah, basically there are two reasons where we are mitigating this risk. The risk of the low operating cash flow. So the first thing is that because of the government and some PSU billing which get extended, and the payment gets cleared a little high. So we are keeping a very tight schedule, and our team is oriented. Our system and processes are oriented. We are in continuous client engagements to make this tight schedule of getting the receivables at an early stage. And also second thing is that, as I mentioned, since we have a good number of modules in the digital library, so the overall operational efficiency will be managed, cost is also controlled, so that the OCF is maintained, and we do a better cash flow management
Okay.
completely
I
at
understood.
Automotive.
No, no, understood. I think nicely mentioned by you. Udayji, now the most important question for today, that we are planning to go public. So if you could just tell us about the public issue, what is the objective for raising funds, and what is the size of the issue? If you could just briefly tell us.
Yeah, so we are trying to get a issue size of about 38.38 crores. So in the lot of 1600, we are giving it, and overall 46 lakhs 80,000 shares, out of which 16 lakh shares on OFS and remaining on the fresh issue. So this is the overall thing, and the proceeds from the IPO is primarily for working capital management. So we have a lot of CC which has been taken to service the business, so that we can use this proceeds to square off the CC and reduce the interest burden for the organization and leverage on the working capital management. And second is on the general corporate purpose for business expansion. We're looking out some of the funds for technological advancements. And we also entered into UAE market, so wherein we would require good marketing, brand management, and also onboarding the channel partner acquisition. So we require certain funds for doing that as well. So overall, it's working capital, brand management, marketing activities, and technological advancement is what we are looking at.
Okay, so and Udayji, on the balance sheet side, if you could just tell us, like March 25 has already got complete. Now we have started if, March 26 financial year. Sir, what is the
Mhm.
overall debt position? Are we leveraged in a significant way, or do we have any large working capital debt only? No long-term debt on the books. If you could please clarify.
No, we have a short-term CC which is there. So we do not have a large. So we have not taken any term loan as such. So CC is as per the requirement we utilize them. And so the growth would steady, as I mentioned, we are steadily growing. We'll be able to maintain the growth pace, 30-35% is what we've been able to achieve. So we'll maintain that over the period of time as well, and we look for a better outlook with the opportunities available in the market for skill development, digital learning solutions, as well as corporate learning and development.
So I think, please correct me if I'm wrong, Udayji, but it means the money which we raise from the IPO, that will be used largely for working capital and to reduce our CC limits also, because once you get funds,
Absolutely.
that will be
Absolutely.
utilized in a much better manner, right?
Yes, yes. We will be using it for the working capital, and also some collateral in terms of we can give an FD and then leverage if there is a large project. So we, leverage that funds in terms of getting more in case working capital is required from the
Yeah.
that side as well.
So, and Udayji, now last question that is which is very pertinent, for the business. We saw COVID, and then normally, I mean, everything has come back to normal. Tell me, in so many years, if you leave out COVID, in our business, which is a service-driven industry, what is the most important risk for us? Like, is it execution, service? Is it like what you tell the client has got to be delivered in the kind of time frame which the client wants? So, in your assessment, what is the biggest risk, and how have we managed to manage this risk optimally? So if you could please tell us, from your side.
A few things, as I mentioned, is so we have a certain client concentration. So in terms of diversifying, so we are getting more projects from different clients rather than a pure client concentration of few large top 5 or top 10 clients who are giving us the project. So now we are diversifying in terms of various other clients and various multiple projects running parallelly, and that risk is mitigated through that diversification. That is one of the reason. And second is most importantly managing the OCF. So we will manage the OCF in a better way, and get more funds available for doing the service of other projects, large scale projects.
So anyway, I think, Udayji, it was great talking to you. I think all of our viewers will also enjoy this interview, because they could understand your company's operations in a much better manner. So please accept my best wishes to you, your entire management team.
Thank you, Avinash ji, for asking the right kind of question for me to give my perspective on the company's side. So it was pleasure interacting with you, and all the
Yeah,
best. Yeah.
and I think best wishes for your public issue also, which is going to open shortly. So, sir, we'll keep in touch. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Avinash ji. Thank you so much for accommodating this meeting.